Welcome to the Bedtime Story program. Today we have a new story. Let's dive in. Subscribe to the channel. Peace be upon you. The sound you just heard has been broadcast on the radio for 40 years without interruption, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all year long. There have only been occasional interruptions and sometimes other sounds are mixed in with it. This is why this station has been called the Ghost Station or the Apocalypse Station. Welcome, and let me tell you today about the Russian Ghost Station. In 1982, while people were randomly tuning into radio stations, they noticed a station emitting a strange noise. It wasn't the usual static that happens when a station isn't tuned properly. This noise was regular, with a consistent rhythm repeating continuously. Afterward, a sound resembling a ship's horn was heard. Up to this point, the situation was strange, yes, but not overly alarming. Over the years, many people began to follow this station regularly, monitoring it in hopes of hearing something. Yes, it was just the constant buzzing most of the time, but their curiosity kept them eager to listen for something different. And then, one day, something unexpected happened. In 1997, they heard someone speaking on the station, a man speaking in Russian, uttering a series of words and numbers. The listeners recorded what he said, but unfortunately they couldn't extract any information from it. Nothing was connected or made any sense, but one word was repeated multiple times, UVB 76. It was as if the person speaking on the radio was identifying himself with this code. Since that incident, the station has been known as UVB 76. After this, many reported hearing strange sounds on the station at different times. Some people heard tools and equipment clanging together, some heard incomprehensible sounds, and others heard music and songs. But the strangest thing was when people heard a woman speaking in Russian again. She also spoke in fragmented words that had no connection, as if she was relaying a secret code. The mystery continued until November 3, 2001, when another strange event occurred. A conversation was broadcasted on the station between two people speaking in Russian. Their voices were very low and unclear, and they were discussing a power generator or a specific machine. One of them said, "I am number 143, and I can't receive the generator," and the other replied, "These things come from the equipment room." It was strange, without meaning or context, but at least there was progress. It was the first time a conversation was heard on the station between two people. The station's broadcast was cut off after more than 40 years without interruption. After 24 hours, the station resumed broadcasting with the same sound, the same buzzing, as if nothing had happened. No one knows why the station was cut off or how it resumed broadcasting. During this time, an engineer specializing in signals and waves took an interest in the matter and decided to stream the station online. This stream allowed anyone who wanted to access the station to do so easily, and this stream popularized the Ghost Station more than ever before, attracting millions of followers from all over the world. The broadcast is still available to this day. And on September 7th, specifically, the station broadcasted the voice of a man speaking in Russian again, but this time, it was even more eerie. The man on the radio was repeating these words. About a month after these events, on November 10th, another conversation was broadcasted, a phone call where a man was giving instructions to a secretary in an office. This station in particular continued broadcasting for a long time, longer than any previous instance. And after that, the mystery persisted. From time to time, people who followed the station heard strange sounds. Sometimes they heard clanking sounds, sometimes footsteps or music. In one instance, they recognized the music as a 19th century melody called Dance of the Little Swans. But still, no one understood what was happening, or why these sounds were repeated on this station without any explanation. Over the years, many people have tried to uncover the secret behind this station, whether they were enthusiasts or technical experts. The first thing they did was attempt to analyze the buzzing sound using all possible technical methods. They hoped that the buzzing frequency might contain a hidden, encrypted message, but after numerous attempts, the answer was no. There was nothing encrypted within the sounds, just regular noise recorded on a device or produced by a certain machine and then broadcast on the radio. Based on this, they decided to move on to the next stage, analyzing any other sounds that had appeared on the station besides the buzzing. The first thing they concluded was that the sounds coming from this station were not pre-recorded. Everything, even the buzzing, was broadcast live. This led investigators to speculate that the station might be operating from a room with a microphone next to a device producing the sound, and the microphone transmits these sounds for broadcasting. But why, and who is responsible for this? No one knows yet. What made many people believe the room with a microphone theory was that it could explain the strange sounds that occasionally appeared on the station. For instance, in the 2001 incident we talked about earlier, where two people were speaking about an electric generator. The voices were so faint, almost as if they didn't intend for their conversation to be picked up by the microphone, but the microphone accidentally caught their voices and broadcasted them. This theory also explains other sounds that were heard, the sounds of footsteps on the ground, for instance. This theory led to an even bigger one, that the room was definitely inside a building somewhere, and that building might be some sort of institution with employees. This would explain the occasional sounds of people talking, footsteps, or things being moved around. And it's certain that the building is in Russia because every conversation heard on the station has been in Russian. Even the music that was heard was composed by a Russian composer. But if this building really exists, what or where could it be? Over the long years that this station has been broadcasting, many people have tried to find the source of the broadcast. And after several attempts, they discovered that the station was broadcasting from a place called Povarovo, a location in Russia near the capital, Moscow. But what's strange is that when the station went off air for 24 hours on June 25, 2010, it was discovered that when it resumed broadcasting, the source had moved to a new location. After the broadcast had originally been coming from Povarovo, the new broadcast locations were from two different places, St. Petersburg in Russia and the capital Moscow. This prompted some people to personally visit Povarovo to see what had happened there. A group of people gathered and went to the area searching various possible locations until they found an abandoned military base. Surprisingly, the base had broadcasting rooms and a very tall transmission tower. But the strange thing was that no one was there to answer their questions. The place was completely deserted, and the rooms inside were a mess. Equipment and tools were left behind, nothing was taken, and papers and notebooks were scattered on the floor as if there had been an emergency that forced everyone to evacuate suddenly. Now that we were close to finding answers to our questions, even more questions arose. If we assume that this was indeed the place where the station was broadcasting from, why would they change it after all these years? Some people tried to explain this by suggesting that those responsible for the broadcast realized their location had been discovered, so they evacuated before anyone could arrive. But another theory suggests that the evacuation was due to a severe storm that hit the base, damaging much of their equipment. This theory is somewhat supported by some sources that claim a strong storm did indeed hit that area in 2010, but even if we accept this explanation, many questions remain unanswered. Who owns this base? There is a strong belief that the Russian government is behind all of this, and that the broadcast is part of a secret government project. However, no official body has ever spoken about the matter, and the Russian government has never made any statements. We don't know whether the station is still broadcasting from that base or if it has been moved to another location, but what we do know is that the station is still operating today and hasn't stopped broadcasting that strange sound. Despite all these years, no one knows exactly what the purpose of this broadcast is. Many theories have emerged, each trying to explain the purpose of this mysterious station. One of the most famous theories is that the broadcast is part of a network of signals used by the Russian military. According to this theory, the buzzing sound serves as a marker for a certain frequency, and in times of war or emergency, the buzzing sound would stop and the station would start transmitting encoded messages to military forces. Supporters of this theory argue that during the Cold War, both the Soviet Union and the United States used similar systems for communication. They claim that the station has been broadcasting for this long to ensure that the frequency remains open and ready to be used at any time. According to this theory, the buzzing sound would be a way to indicate that the station is still active and hasn't been tampered with. But the strange thing is that even during wars and conflicts, the station never stopped broadcasting the buzzing sound. For example, when the Russian army invaded Ukraine and annexed Crimea in 2014, the station continued broadcasting the buzzing sound as usual, without any change. This raises doubts about the military theory and whether the station is really related to the Russian military. Some believe that the broadcast is a way of communicating with spies. According to this theory, the buzzing sound is just a cover, and the real messages are hidden within the sound itself, using a method known as steganography, which allows for encoding messages within other sounds or images. According to this theory, spies who are trained to decode these messages can extract them from the buzzing sound, while for the rest of us, it just sounds like noise. But again, there's no solid evidence to prove this theory. Others believe that the station is not meant to communicate at all, but rather to monitor something. According to this theory, the buzzing sound is a form of radar, and the station is broadcasting it to detect any changes in the atmosphere or the environment. Some even claim that the station is trying to monitor extraterrestrial activity. This theory gained popularity after some people noticed unusual signals on the station, which they claimed were not of human origin. But, as with other theories, there's no solid evidence to support this claim. So after all these years, the real purpose of the station remains a mystery. Despite all the theories and speculations, we still don't have any concrete evidence about who is behind the station and what their goal is. But what makes this mystery even more intriguing is the fact that the station has been operating for so long without any clear purpose, and without anyone coming forward to claim responsibility. This has led some people to believe that the station might be a form of psychological experiment, testing how people react to an unsolvable mystery. According to this theory, the station is deliberately broadcasting a meaningless sound just to see how people would try to explain it, and to observe the various theories that would emerge. This theory suggests that whoever is behind the station is not interested in the broadcast itself, but in the reactions it provokes. They might be studying how humans respond to mystery and uncertainty and how we try to make sense of something that doesn't make sense. But again, there's no evidence to support this theory either. In the end, we are left with a strange, continuous sound that has been broadcasting for decades without any clear purpose or explanation. And while the mystery of this station remains unsolved, it continues to capture the imaginations of people around the world who are trying to figure out what it all means. So, what do you think? Could the station be part of a secret government project, a means of communication with spies, or maybe just a psychological experiment? Or is it something else entirely? Whatever the answer is, the fact remains that this station has been broadcasting for over 4 decades without revealing its secrets. And maybe, just maybe, the real secret is that there is no secret at all. The station could just be a relic of a bygone era, continuing to broadcast out of habit, with no one left to turn it off. Or perhaps the station is still serving a purpose, but one that we have yet to understand. As we continue to search for answers, the station continues to broadcast its mysterious sound, reminding us that some mysteries are not meant to be solved, and that the unknown is often more intriguing than the known. Perhaps the true allure of this station is not in finding out what it is, but in the endless possibilities of what it could be. Whatever the truth may be, the legend of this mysterious station lives on, as one of the strangest and most enduring enigmas of our time.